is known for its drastic contrast between wealthy and destitute areas, some filled with eager peasants willing to earn their fair share, and others with abundance that can only be observed in the region's larger populaces. However, there is one particular location that sits in the center of Temeria's economic disparity, a fortified community that is closed off from the rest of the region and its unsightly evils. Yes, a village that is free and yet a prisoner of his own calamity. Perch is an elevated palisade that rests upon a small hill located in the west of Velen. It features a small population of peasants and laborers and is currently under the control of the Bloody Barren and his entourage. The village is perhaps one of the more fortunate areas in Velen. In addition to being safeguarded by a low moat that walls off unwanted visitors, it also grants one of the most pleasant views of Velen's picturesque mountains and landscapes. The village can be accessed by using a wooden bridge, which immediately leads to the land's busy markets and complacent community. Villagers are incredibly proactive. Men and women are always prepared to exercise their trade for coin. Children, running through the land's clumped gravel, completely unaware of the troubles that plague their caretakers. The average day starts at early dawn, where the sun is its brightest and the ground is still moist from the cold night and condensation. Due to the village's abundant labor force and efficient distribution systems, the continuous fear of deprivation that looms over other villages never seems to be a concern for those residing in Crow's Perch. The residents of this rural community had become accustomed to their walls and comfortable lives, most of them bewildered at even the thought of leaving their territories to see what awaits on the outside. Perhaps from their perspective, the world outside of their mild fortune and privileges was nothing more than a dark and wicked land, one that is surely not fit for the common servant. In some ways, they are completely correct and justified in their assumptions. On the other hand, truth be told, the region that surrounds Crow's Perch is one of the most beautiful areas in all of Velen. Its enormous fields and meadows are sure to brighten the journey of any traveler, while still being able to spark one's interest from its primary river and friendly locale. The villager's concerns does have some merit. Though the region is undoubtedly breathtaking in its scenery, it is surrounded by various bandit camps and monster nests. Thankfully, bandits tend to set their camps in somewhat unconventional locations, such as next to the riverside or even deep forest areas, making them easy to avoid when following the dirt road. The second area within the village, often referred to as the castle, is closed off and heavily guarded. It mainly serves as a training ground for the Bloody Barren's men. Since the structures in this area are located at the very top of Crow's Perch, it allows for complete observation over surrounding areas in Velen. This serves as an advantageous method to detecting approaching enemies and incoming supply ports. The surrounding area isn't merely a camp for soldiers. Couples and tradesmen can be heard bickering and gossiping about commotion that occurs throughout Velen. During other times, individuals may play a game of quint, a popular pastime that tends to bring many of the villagers together. The Bloody Barren's men train for the very day that their enemies would invade the village. Though they exert poise, on the inside, they completely lack self-confidence and dread for such an occasion, for even they are sure to be outnumbered. This was the same concern that had encouraged the previous head, Count Vizarad, to flee from Crow's Perch.
You and your father, when did you leave home?
This morning.
And did the sun warm your face or your back?
It warmed my back.
So we must go east. Come, I'll walk you home. And explain to your parents that they must not lose their children in the woods.
Leaders of any village tend to always be somewhat troubled. The Bloody Barren's domestic troubles, unknown to villagers outside of the castle area, is another problem that commonly plagues the conscience of his soldiers. It's quite interesting, really. These men are willing to kill with absolutely no qualms or charity. Yet, when it comes to a man's family, they show apprehension, worry, and fear.